Hey guys, welcome back to the Crew Family Philippines. Today I'm going to be talking about have expats ruin Dumaguete City, Philippines. So I'm going to start out by saying no, that's not true. But what I've seen is there's a lot of expats coming into Dumaguete, and I think it's making a very positive impact on the city. And that includes Valencia, Dauin, Bacong, and so forth. I'm Monty Crew.
Hi, and I'm Argel Crew.
We're a married couple living in the Philippines.
We will be covering topics about everyday life here in the Philippines.
Tap that subscription button, tap that bell notification so you don't miss out on anything. And all these businesses had been really run into the ground because, the COVID issue. So that really hurt tourism for the Philippines. So everybody with a hotel or resort or restaurant or bar or anything really impacted by tourism dollars was hurting bad. And then these fellows were home and they were watching, YouTube and thinking about retirement and what have you. And they decided, well, you know what, when this lifts, I'm either going to go visit for a vacation in the Philippines, see what it's like, or I'm going to be staying there for 6 months, or I'll try it out for a year, or what have you. And that's really, really helped the economy here. And there's been a lot of good, positive things going on here. A lot of the restaurants have built back up, and there's a lot more to choose from now. And I think as time goes on, there will be a lot more to choose from. Prices, I think, have went up, but I believe that is because a lot of it has to do with the, being locked down, and inflation went up here just like it did everywhere else. So now these guys have been watching all these videos about coming to the Philippines and living in the Philippines, and some of them are thinking they can live on $1,000 a month. Well, I'm sorry, that's no longer an issue, a thing here. We used to live on $800 something a month, and we paid $200 a month rent, and we had a 2-bedroom, 1 bath with a big living room and kitchen, open living room and kitchen, and it was very nice. And we had a house tour of it before, and I'll post a picture of that on there as I'm talking. But so now that place rents for over $500. So let's think about this. So supply and demand, just like in every other country, has become, there's more demand than supply. So now a person here that has a rental property and they were getting $200 a month for it, and they're thinking, you know what, I've only had 3 calls in 2 years on this property, and I haven't been able to rent it out. And now all of a sudden I've got 30 calls this week. I think I better go up the rent. I can make more money. Why not? These guys have the money to pay it, and why not, raise the prices a little bit. So I think that happens. As far as expats ruining Dumaguete, no. I think, you're seeing a lot of positive stuff. You see Paul and several of the other guys got together, put some money together, and got a helmet thing going on. And Goldfinger, I think, is in charge of that. And everybody can say what they want to about Goldfinger, but he's doing something positive, and I think he's a great guy and he's funny. I don't know his past, and I don't really care. As long as he doesn't hurt me or hurt anybody I know, I'm all good with it. Everybody's always got something negative to say about everybody else, but for the most part, these guys are really, really helping and doing positive things. Let's go back to the things what I was talking about. So you guys got all these people are home in USA and all over the world, and they're stuck at home. Some of them are stuck at home with COVID, and can't work, and there's nothing to do but sit around and watch TV. So they get on YouTube and they're watching all these videos, and I think it was it was sad but funny at the same time. You know, I've seen some of the bloggers here. They didn't have anybody to interview, and I remember Paul and Mark living up at Big Rock, and they were interviewing each other because there was just nobody to interview. Then you have, you know, Mark. He all of his videos are pretty much about how every man has a story. So he needs to have people to interview. So all of a sudden, this big influx of expats came in, and now we have plenty of people to go and interview and talk to and what have you, whatever channel you have. And, you know, you go down to Ground Zero and it's packed every day, you know, with foreigners, new guys coming into town, kind of like fresh meat, you know. So everybody's down there interviewing everybody, and that's all going great. Before you had tons and tons of views, now all of a sudden it just starts going down. Two things happen. Everybody went back to work in those countries, and they're not watching YouTube as much anymore. And the guys that came over to the Philippines, wherever that might have been, they quit watching because they're already here. So, yeah, you have a lot of people to interview, but not as many people watching because they're here or they're back to work or what have you. Thank goodness with our situation, Erica had the foresight. She told me we were renting that house in Valencia that we would now be paying over $500 for. And she said, Monty, I'm just going to go back to my family's property and live there. I said, okay. Well, the hurricane hit Orlando, along with a lot of other places, and tore up a lot of fence, and I was building fence. So I was like, hey, ding, while I'm making this money, build a small house on your family's property so that we'll have a place to live. And she goes, yeah, let's do it. Great. So we built this little place here we're staying in. It's very comfortable. And, you know, it was, thank God she did that, because who knows what we would be doing now, because I can't afford to pay that much rent. I can't afford to pay anything. But so those guys with a vision of, oh, I'm going to live in the Philippines for $1,000 a month, not unless you're living in a hut out in the middle of the rice field or something, you're not going to be able to find that. But I think that all in all, expats bring a good economy to this area. Those that come here and grumpy and hate everything about being here, you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning. We were on that subject, and I just don't understand why they don't go back home. You know, if you hate dealing with somebody that doesn't speak perfect English, or you hate dealing with the traffic here, you hate dealing with, you know, we're out of stock, you hate dealing with, you know, all these things they complain about, maybe it's better you stay home, but stay in your country, wherever that may be, and you'd probably be a whole lot happier. You know, you go into a restaurant, and in the USA, you sit down, somebody brings you a menu. 2 minutes later, or right then, they're asking you what you like to order, and then the order goes in, and you get it pretty promptly. And you know, nothing's ever perfect anywhere, but you come here, and then you got to wait to get a menu. You might have to ask to get a menu. Then you might have to wait for a good time, or you might have to call the waitress or waiter over to your table, and so you can get served and get an order in. And then, depending on how busy they are, they might only have 2 people in the kitchen or 1 person in the kitchen. You're going to be waiting. And that really drives some of the guys nuts here. Well, you just got to go with the flow. I mean, this isn't your country. You're here visiting, whatever. Even if you're here living, you're still in a foreign country. It's not your country. So you really don't have any way to complain, because this is their country, this is their language, this is their customs. You know, most waitresses here aren't even used to getting a tip. So they're not going to go overboard to help you because they're not used to getting a tip. They get a tip out of you, maybe they'll treat you better next time. But it's just those little things that really drive people crazy. You know, going into a hardware store and asking for a padlock. Back there somewhere. Okay, well, all right, I'll go look for it. Or, you know, you tell them something you want, and they might tell you they're out of stock. Doesn't necessarily mean they're out of stock. They might not understand what you're trying to tell them. And you go back and, okay, well, I go look for it, and I find it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go up and pay for it and be thankful I have it. Not going to the person that told you they don't know where it is and going, here, it's right here. Why are you telling me that you don't have it? Just forget. You know, you're never going to be happy no matter where you are if that's your attitude, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. But I just wanted to say that, you know, prices have driven up on rental properties and things like that. You're not going to be able to get what you used to. So, you know, the old days, you could tell somebody maybe they could come over here and survive, not live a great life, but survive on $1,000 a month. That is no longer possible. It's just not going to happen. Maybe, like I said, if you want to, you know, live in a grass hut out in the middle of the swamp or a rice field or something, maybe you can get that. And it's not the same as it used to be. So if you have you're thinking you're going to live here, I would say $2,500 a month is pretty much minimum if you're going to be renting a place and all that stuff. We are able to get away with less than that since we live in a house that we already own. And people can bash me and say, oh, I can't believe you build a place on your wife's property, she can kick you off and you can be, we've got a wife, I got a daughter. We're very happy together, and I don't see that ever happening, so I don't care about that. But all these smaller channels that want to jump on there and they're trying to get these new followers and views, bashing the expats of Dumaguete, I think you're totally wrong. I'm sorry. You're going to have negative and positive in everything you do in life, but talking about your life in the Philippines, everybody and their brothers since they came back here, including me, I'm not going to put myself out of that, but all of them are bloggers now, YouTubers, and they're making videos and, you know, about their life here. That's cool, you know. Make videos about your life. Even if nobody watches it but your family back in the USA or Europe or wherever you're from. Even if only those people are watching it, gives them something cool to watch, and they get to see what your life is over here, and it's interesting, and maybe you'll get a few views off other stuff, and maybe in time you'll build up to where you're actually monetized and you can make money. But thinking that you're going to come over here and in 6 months you're going to be a big time YouTuber making thousands of dollars a month, I don't think that's going to happen. And maybe for some, there's a whole thing that we can get into about YouTube and algorithms and what you can make money on YouTube other than just getting paid from YouTube. But it's just not viable to start a negative channel and bash everybody else. It's not going to be any fun for anybody to watch unless it's one of those negative people that I was talking about earlier. Maybe they would get off on watching something like that. I don't see it. But when you think of Dumaguete and you think of the Philippines, don't think of every expat over here is horrible, trying to rip people off, trying to make their lives miserable, trying to make false claims. I mean, if you go way back to an old video of somebody and they're saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm living over in the Philippines and I'm surviving on $500 a month. Maybe they were 10 years ago, but they're not now. I mean, I think you'd almost be homeless if you tried to be over here for $500 a month. You better have a girlfriend who has a house, and maybe you'll be able to eat on $500 a month, but not much else. and you'd have to learn how to eat Filipino style. And that's another thing in the restaurants. You know, it's really given us the influx of expats, really given us more places we can enjoy to go eat. You know, us foreigners, we like to eat, and most of us like to eat, you know, our home food and not Filipino food necessarily. You know, we'll try some here and there, and some of the guys are really go-getters, and they'll eat balut and some dried fish and whatever. I'm not one of those people. But, so a lot of these guys are not, they're single and they're not cooking for themselves, and they're going out to eat. So what that's doing is starting new restaurants. It's helping the restaurants that are already here, and you know, we're getting better quality of food and service because, you know, people are training the staff better, having more employees. They can afford it because there's more people eating there. And I just think it's great. The grocery stores are carrying a little bit more stuff that you couldn't get during, you know, my wife's had a hard time getting a few things during the COVID pandemic, including diapers and stuff like that. They did have milk. They had plenty of baby milk for our daughter at that time. But it's good. You know, things are getting a lot better when you go into places and you're able to find more things and what have you. I wanted to jump over to Jim real quick. Jim is still building his place. I've had lots of subscribers that asking me, you know, when am I going to do another video with Jim? That will happen. He's just going through a little bit of a headache right now with his construction. Once that's tied up and straightened out, then we'll get back on the channel and give you an update of the house, and then later on we'll do an update of the finished product, what he has to live in now. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around, and please like our video and give us a subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and we really appreciate all you folks that comment and subscribe and follow us, and really helps our channel, really helps our mission of what we eventually want to do. And we're just showing our lives as a family in the Philippines and what we're doing. And I try to get some of these other subjects. I'm not very good on immigration and all that stuff, and how to get in and get out of here, and what you need and what all the stuff is. But that's why I didn't do a channel about any of, you know, like Steve that's got that info channel. That's great. You know, he gives us so much information. I even watch him when I live here. And so you might want to check out his channel and give him a little subscribe and thumbs up. You know, he's a great guy. And any of that kind of stuff that, you know, you want to know, he's pretty much there, or knows where to send you to get there. And anyway, bye guys. Talk to you soon.